What are my chances?
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say
Good and terrible.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Steelers Sanctuary Podcast. We've got an emergency pregame pod going here because there are issues with the Steelers. George Pickens is now out today for the game against the Cleveland Browns. I guess his hamstring popped up on Friday in practice. They said they'd make it a game time decision. I saw Tomlin this morning on CBS saying he was hopeful that George Pickens would go, but now he's officially out for today. Bob, what do you think this means for the Steelers offense today?
I think it's going to be a big Pat Freiermuth day. Mike Williams might actually hit the over on the targets we talked about on legendary picks. It's it's alarming. It's not world ending. The Steelers can still win the game. They need to have a little more pressure on the defense to do a little more. I don't think it's a good thing in any way, shape, or form, but Pat, Darnell, Calvin Austin. I look for Ben Skoranek to also have a really nice game here. I don't think it's going to be Mike Williams. I think it's going to be a Skoranek because he's a big target down the field. He's played that role for the Rams before in their Super Bowl run. So, yeah, I don't think it's world ending. I'm certainly not excited about it, but yeah, I think we can overcome it.
Yeah, I guess being that it's the Browns and they're not a great football team, you could try to squeak by without it, but I take it a little different than you do. I think this is really – I mean, I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. If George Pickens ever gets hurt, this offense is screwed. You'd hope that today would be the Mike Williams game, but who knows? The guy hasn't we talked about it on our last pod. He's got like 2 total targets since he joined the Steelers, so I don't know if we can – I don't even know if the Steelers have confidence in him. I don't know what the issue is with Mike Williams. Some people on Twitter and other places I've seen are kind of doing conspiracy theory that this might be a low-key suspension type deal. I don't know if I buy that so much. I said on go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I know Kaboli on Friday suggested that he hadn't been hurt all week. I mean, it's hard to question. Hamstrings are funny. It's hard to question those if somebody says their hamstring isn't. I know they tested it in pregame. So if he was faking it, he had to really put on a show. And if it was at the team's guise of, hey, you are going to be the guy who does this for us, then I don't know. If I'm suspended, I'm not going out and helping the team by letting them hide it on an injury report. Oh, going into a contract year, who knows? I don't buy that it's a suspension. I do buy that if it was at all questionable, why risk a possible league suspension if he goes out and gets in a fight with Newsom?
Yeah. I mean, if Tomlin didn't ever suspend Antonio Brown for all the shit he put the Steelers through, I doubt they're going to suspend even if it's kind of low-key. I'm not buying that. Like you said, hamstrings are weird, and I thought about this when people were saying, oh, he's going to play, he's good, don't worry about it on Friday and Saturday. I'm like, hamstrings are weird, man. And honestly, I'd rather him not play and be fully healthy next week than go out there at 80 or 75% and aggravate it worse. Because if George Pickens is out long-term, I don't think it's over-exaggeration. The playoff hopes are just that. They might still make the playoffs, but they're not going anywhere. They're not winning that elusive first playoff game without George Pickens. I'm sorry. This offense can't withstand that kind of injury.
Well, before we ring the alarm bells, it's, there's Cleveland hasn't swept the Steelers since 1988. And there's been some not great Steeler teams since 1988. I still feel like we're going to get them at home. So we win this game, we get to 10-3. Let's say Pickens misses Philly. Okay. That was a long shot. We were going to win that game anyway. So we haven't won since 1965 in Philly. So, okay, not great, not the end of the world. We don't get to see the test of where they are. If he's back for Baltimore, I think all becomes right with the world, but we can't lose this game. We have to win this. Yeah, we have to win this game. This game becomes a must win. There's been other guys with hamstrings. This seems like it was a tweak at the last minute. We don't know the severity of the injury. Then again, they're in no way, shape, or form better without George Pickens, but this could open some eyes if Mike Williams, Skoranek, if Calvin Austin has a big game. More importantly, if Pat has a big game, this could open some eyes. Because let's face it, Cleveland does not do a good job defending tight ends. So Pat has to eat. He has Calvin Austin has to catch a couple. Skoranek is by committee, but Russell Wilson has been down his best receivers before in Seattle and has played well without them. So I'm not terribly concerned. I just think everybody steps up in the number one option and, go Pat. We really need Pat.
You're being very optimistic this morning, Bob. Did you get a good night's sleep last night? You're very positive today.
I'm always positive. There's no way you can't talk me out of them winning until they lose.
I'm very worried now. I was a little worried going in with George Pickens. I'm very worried now. I said it on X a little while ago. They were playing with fire all season, not getting a number 2 receiver on this team. That George Pickens would play 16 games and not get hurt and be effective. And this is what you get. You have Ben Skoranek, Calvin Austin, and Mike Williams as your starting 3 wide receivers today in this game. It's unacceptable, Bob. It really is unacceptable. I know a lot of people liked Mike Williams and were good with that trade. Yeah, the Jets weren't exactly like the world of. We didn't. You're right. We didn't. I mean, there's a reason they traded him. He wasn't very good for the Jets. So this is to me, it's a huge blow to the offense. And I agree. If it's just a 1-game thing, it's just a blip. It's fine, or even a 2-game thing. But like if he were to play today and really aggravated it and missed 4 games and then not been 100% for the playoffs, that's a disaster. So I agree. If it's even close, I'd err on the side of caution. Sit him today. Sit him next week if you have to. The important thing is get him ready for the playoffs and the stretch run the last few games. That's the way I look at it, man. And
the running game's going to be important. You got to figure Cleveland's going to load the box. So up front early, we want to see that play action. I want to Darnell Washington, Pat, Skoranek. We've got to be very creative. It doesn't give Arthur Smith a lot of time to kind of adjust the game plan. And look, you could still throw a go moon ball to Mike Williams. It's just not, it's just not a guarantee like it is with Pickens that he's going to come down with it.
They're going to load the box. They're going to make the Steelers throw.
Which again could be a huge day for Jalen with the screen game. So
they're going to have to throw some screens. Maybe Calvin Austin hits one big, but of course he's coming off a concussion too. So we can't forget about that. He's,
I have a feeling this is going to look very mid-90-ish today. Throwback 100%. To the Fuamata Fala days where there's going to be some weird things that happen, where, okay, maybe we don't have the best skill position players, on paper today, where, Judy automatically becomes the best wide receiver in the game today. But I liked our pieces a little better than their pieces with Chubb being down. It's going to be creativity. It's got to carry over from that Cincinnati game. I think they got to dump those little, just the running back takes in the middle and just dumps it over the middle, dumps it over the middle, dumps it over the middle. There's going to be more of those. There's not going to be any big plays. Justin Fields now becomes very important because
that's a good point, Bob. That's a good point, Bob. I would hope you would see a lot more Justin Fields today just to open up this offense a little bit and give the Browns something else to think about because, oh man, the thought of not having George Pickens on the field for any game. Is Jim Schwartz the happiest man in the NFL today? I mean, honest to God, he doesn't have to deal with George. And does this force Russell Wilson to hold the ball longer, which is a nightmare with Myles Garrett?
Could force him to throw the ball quicker, which could be your good thing.
It could be. It could end up being a good thing.
Because now I'm not holding the ball looking for George Pickens down the field. There'll be times where he wants to go down the field to a Williams or a Skoranek, but let's face it, he's throwing go balls to Van Jefferson pretty quickly. So I mean, I don't think I think those go balls will still be there. At least they'll try them. They're just not as, when Pickens is in the game, that go ball, it's a 70-30, not a 50-50. Now they become 50-50s
again. Yeah. You hope for some flags, something, anything. They gotta take some deep shots to open up the Browns, because if they just dink and dunk too much, it's gonna make their defense too easy on the Cleveland Browns defense to play those short zones and load the box. And could be a long day, Bob. This is not the news we were looking for on Sunday morning. Heading into this big AFC. I wrote a piece this week on the website about how many playoff implications this game has, and a win here would put the Steelers in the driver's seat. They really, really need to somehow figure out a way to get this win.
It's going to happen. I feel good about it. It's going to happen. Right. Don't despair, Steeler fans. We're still going to win. Cover.
All right. We wanted to get a quick 15, 20-minute, get our opinions out on this George Pickens thing. We'll let you guys get back to prepping for the game. Any last thoughts before we get out of here, Bob?
Yeah, if Pickens is in your lineup, make changes quickly.
Yeah, make changes quickly. Hopefully you have somebody on the bench, because which is me, actually. I got to go change one of my lineups too. Thanks for guys for coming on and watching. We'll do our regular Monday thing at 6:30 tomorrow, reviewing however this thing shakes out. Keep commenting. We got one comment before we go. Time for the highest paid defense, TJ says, during their keep. Yeah, you're damn right it is. Yeah, we didn't even bring that up. Defense is
good thing we got Alex back today.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Alex, TJ, Hall of Fame Herbert.
Turnovers.
They got to wreck the game.
Turnovers, short fields. Maybe a Calvin Austin punt return would be nice. Get some field position.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we got to run, but we wanted to get this out here real quick. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 6:30 for our regular review of the game.
Go Steelers.
Go Steelers, guys.